This is the Adidas Predator LZ, and today Adidas have brought it back after 10 years with a remake that's close enough to the original to be really cool, but which is also a little bit disappointing. And I'll tell you why that is, plus in general what's up with the boot, to hopefully help you decide whether you should buy it or not from unisportstore.com. So the LZ1 remake here is actually a part of a pack called the Unity Pack, which also features a Predator Edge in the same colorway, which seems at least to be heavily inspired by that Predator LC1 signature colorway for David Beckham in 2012. Only here, it seems that the colorway has kind of been reversed, so instead of being pink on the front and white back on the back, well, it's the other way around. And look, I'm all for making a modern interpretation of a modern colorway, but I just don't understand that if they wanted to make a tribute colorway to David Beckham, which these could easily be, why not, just make the original colorway? It is an Adidas boot, after all, on an LZ1. I mean, it must be something to do with rights and all that jazz, but I'm just a boot nerd, not a lawyer, so what do I know? Well, let's talk about the remake here for a second, which curiously enough is a little bit like the colorway in the sense that Adidas have used the same elements from the original, but the result is a little bit more different than I had imagined, and that surprised me because Adidas have still used the Hybrid Touch upper, the synthetic leather upper that's really soft and pliable, as well as the original SL rubber fins for the lethal zones. And since I considered those to be the two most important elements of the original, I'd say so far, so good, job well done. But however, Adidas also swapped the microcoach outsole from the original to the outsole from the Predator Edge.2, and to my surprise, it had a pretty big effect on the fit and the shape of the remake. Because as you can maybe see here, the remake is quite a bit wider, especially in the midfoot and the heel, compared to the original, where it feels like the parts here, especially around the opening, have more foam in them, or are at least thicker and more airy. And I have absolutely no idea why, but es lo que hay, no? I mean, yes, it feels wider and chunkier compared to the original, but actually it's also a little bit longer. With that said, I still went through the size and got a pretty decent experience, both when it comes to playing and especially around comfort, because that's the thing. Yes, it is a bit more clumsy and chunkier than its older brother, right? But with that said, when you break it in and especially soften up this slightly stiff heel part here, you have Hybrid Touch, and it's absolutely amazing. It has this incredible softness to it, and once it softens up, it just fits. And I would actually go as far as saying, as for me, this is one of the most comfortable boots that Adidas have released in a while. And then you have the lethal zones, which haven't changed one bit in the last 10 years, and that's a good thing because they worked back then and they still work now. See, the lethal zones here were brought into life by speaking to some of Adidas's finest bowlers at the time. Xavi, Gerrard, Kaká, Nani, Beckham, the whole lot, the legends, the icons. But basically, they were given a pen and a blank boot, and then they drew zones of where they wanted control elements, and the results were these 5 zones to enhance their touch, so to speak. At least that was the marketing ploy back in the day. Basically, you've got your drive element here for those long cross-field passes, giving you also a little bit of grip when you start to swerve the ball. You have the pass pad to help you with that first touch, and also giving you this nice dampened feel when you make those in-step passes. There's a sweet spot, which I still haven't figured out what does after these 10 years, but I guess it's nice for durability and the boot's not ripping. And then you have the first touch and the dribble zone, which offer a decent amount of texture when you dribble with that part of the foot. And here's the thing. I would love to tell you that the lethal zones will make you lethal, like Xavi, but I'm sorry, my friends, it's not gonna happen. With that said, they're great because they offer a solid amount of texture and structure on the ball, but they don't hinder you like some of the modern edge control zones do, because they're flexible. They actually move with the upper and thus with your feet. And it's a great example of how you should do control elements that people today could learn something from. this is where it gets interesting. Because yes, the LC1 might be 10 years old and be a bit more chunky than the original, which kinda sucks, but I still think that it's a more rounded football boot and control boot than the Predator Edge Plus. Because yeah, sure, the Edge might have more grip than basically everything else out there, and it's wild and raw and all that stuff, but to me, the LC1 has grip enough. And because it's just so much more comfortable than the Edge and actually a lot more low profile and nimble, and is 30 euros cheaper at 250 euros, that's a win for me. I'm just saying. It looks cool and all, but just saying. And sure, I am annoyed that the shape and the fit in the remake isn't 100% one-to-one with the original, because it was so good back in the day. But with that said, the remake is close enough to still be really, really cool, especially if you were a fan of the original LZ. So guys, what do you think of the remake? And by the way, the rest of the Unity pack? Let me know as always in the comment section right down below. And if you fancy one of these, remember that you can go and buy right now via the link to unisport.com right over there. But of course, before you go, make sure you've subscribed to the channel with the notifications on. And then of course, if you want to learn how to improve your skills as a baller, check the playlist right down there if you want to learn some cool new tricks. And with those words, I'll be signing off. Cheerio.